What is going on, my big brother, brothers and sisters? It is your boy Deluxe Dave here, and I'm here to break down a whole entire another week of week 9. And may I say, the best week of Big Brother thus far. Of course, but we're going to get into that in 1 second. I have been chilling and listening to my Aaliyah music like all weekend. So like Aaliyah songs are playing in my head right now. But I'm trying to push past that so that I can bring you my take on a great week. I mean, a great week of Big Brother, period. But get into this shirt also. This Waldo Geraldo Faldo shirt, which is like everything that a 90s kid would want. Go to Sean Harrison's page on Instagram and get it. No, I'm not doing this as like an advertisement. I just like the shirt. Thank you. I'm glad I ordered it. Anyway, go to Sean Harrison's page. He Hates on Instagram. I love it. I think he's going to have different colors, but I like my black because it's all about black this week. Oh, Big Brother, I'm so excited. Okay, let's get right into it. So Sunday, the Endurance Challenge began on Big Brother. And, we were in the middle of the Endurance Challenge when we last left. And, Derek, of course, lasted 1 minute and 42 seconds and bloop, fell off that cart. And then, X went ahead and he threw the competition. And Hannah threw the competition also. So they're going and spinning in those circles. Asa wanted to win. But then we come to this major part of the competition where basically Tiffany and Kylan are left at the end spinning because, Claire had to fall off because she, was the secret HOH and she could not win. So she had to fall. Alyssa fell off and started throwing up. So we lost everybody except Kylan and Tiffany at the end. And the deal was that Tiffany was going to let someone else besides her win this week so that them putting up Claire would not be a big problem, that they would just put up Claire. It'd be no big deal. It's fine. I don't have to really have a lot of blood on my hands. But she chooses to stay on the spin the wheel thing, and she does not want to fall off. And my mind is like clicking, wonder like, why is Tiffany doing this? So she's explaining herself and saying, I want to, win this competition and add to my resume. At that, are you worried about jury duty? Are you worried about people are really not going to trust you because you sat down and you talked about it like, Claire was going to be the next one home because that's what the majority Cookout wanted. But she had her own plan and she said, I'm staying on this thing and I'm going to try to make this work and win this HOH again, add to my resume, So she was up there doing it and Kylan's getting pissed. So Tiffany ends up winning. She ends up winning. So it's like, in the end, it's like, Tiffany, now the whole Cookout is really starting to look at you and kind of not like you. You're not sticking with the plan. What is going on? And you got probably like Chada is like the only person that's going to be on your side because Claire and Alyssa got to go if you're going to keep the Cookout together. So I was like wondering what was going through Tiffany's mind at that time. I would really love to ask her that question. Like, what was going through your mind at that time when you decided that you were just going to sit on that thing and just suck it up and be like, okay, I'm staying on this thing and I'm going to do this because I think this is my best game plan. I didn't really see that as her, like, the best interest of what she could have done, but maybe she had a different reason for doing it. Maybe it will pay off. I just know she's on a lot of people's hit list right now for doing what she did. So they end up going and sitting and talking down about a lot of these things. Kylan comes up to, Tiffany, like, why didn't you just, fall? And she really doesn't have the explanation. She's just like, I wanted to win this. And she has to kind of play it off. And X is pissed by now because he's like, I done thrown all these competitions for the Cookout. I done did all this stuff for the Cookout. And this is the way you repay me. You just go ahead and you don't fall off of this spin the wheel thing. I keep calling it merry-go-round. I think that's what it is. Anyway, she doesn't fall off, so X is pissed, and Derek F is already pissed because he don't like Tiffany at all anyway, so he already pissed. So I'm just like, what in the world was Tiffany thinking at that time? And now Derek X is really starting to say, okay, I'm gonna have to look out for myself. I'm like, I spent all this time looking out for the Cookout. Now it's time that I look out for my own self once and for all. And that's really what you should have been doing the entire time. Really and truthfully, Derek, or X, you should have been doing that from the very beginning. We've been telling Asa that since the beginning. She was looking out for the jokers the whole time. And now X is like, I've been doing all these, throwing competitions. But I was trying to explain to one of my friends, I'm like, X, at a certain point in time, we're almost at the end of the game. You have to start worrying about your individual game at some point in time. So I really didn't understand why it took him so long to realize that he has to start playing his own game. Was he going to wait till it was the cookout, down to the cookout to do that? I just didn't see I didn't think that was the best option for him. I think he should have been kind of thinking down the line, which I think he has, but he was depending on Alyssa maybe to boost him a little bit further or other people. And I feel like he really didn't, all in all, like trust totally. Of course, you can't trust the cookout altogether, but Tiffany was looking out for what she thought was her best move, and who can blame Tiffany for doing that? And I'm not mad at her decision for that. Anyway, we go on, and the guys are pissed at Tiffany at this point. So they have already started their little group, and they're like, we gotta worry about trying to get Tiffany out of this thing, or one of the girls, because they're gonna be coming for us if we let them stay together. So they're pissed at her, and then eventually Alyssa goes up and she's basically telling. So then Alyssa goes up to talk to Tiffany, which she's the HOH now, and Alyssa has to make her, ditch effort so that she does not go up on, the block. And she basically explains to her why it's in her best interest to keep her around. I think Alyssa did a tremendous job in explaining to her why it's best for her to keep her around and everything like that. I think that she had a phenomenal way of saying it and keeping it all together. But in the end, Tiffany was like, I'm not even going for all that. You going right up on the block, and that's about it. And so she ends up putting Alyssa up there along with X. And, that's pandemonium now, because now X is like, I could have got rid of Tiffany a long time. I could have been doing stuff, but I've been looking out for the cookout this whole time and all of these things. And now he's sitting on the block, which he feels comfortable with being there, but he just doesn't know if he can trust Tiffany's best interest. But all he knows is that I got to go for that power veto very, very hard. So I feel like Tiffany in this episode on Sunday kind of messed up her game a little bit to me. I feel like she overthought, like she's already into the next weeks, which she really wasn't thinking about her management of some of the people in that group, making them mad. Like, just go with the flow and get with it could have been a very easy week with her maybe saying, I don't need the HOH, let somebody else get this. But I feel like she got a little power hungry and she wanted to build that resume up, and she was like, let me just go for it and do what I got to do. But was that the best thing? We're going to see in the next few weeks. But this week we was continuing to count down. So we move on to Wednesday, and Alyssa and Xavier are talking. And basically now Alyssa's saying, there could be this all black thing going on in the house, which is the cookout, which we already knew about. And Xavier's like, oh no, yeah, no, all black. What? I didn't even think about that. What, really? And it's really obvious. I don't see how Alyssa or Claire really couldn't know at this point or put it all together of why these people are still in the house and y'all are the only two that are left, and I just thought it was kind of funny to see. Finally, we sit down with Alyssa, Derek F, and Asa, and Alyssa's probably kind of trying to tell Derek F, okay, it's in your best interest. Maybe you can vote to keep me or whatever. And Derek F is like, no, I'm not even straying from that. I'm not doing it. Don't ask me to do it. We're not doing that. And so it's like she has to do what she has to do because she's on the block, and it doesn't really look that good. She thinks it looks good because Xavier is a big threat in the house, but she doesn't really, it's not registering to her that this is a whole alliance of the cookout. So finally, Xavier and Derek F sit down and talk, and Xavier's pissed now, and he really is thinking about messing up Tiffany's game because he's been doing all of this stuff, and he's like, you know what, I should just mess up the game. And Derek F is like, no, even as much as I hate Tiffany, I'm not messing this up at this point in time, because I'm like, I made it this far. I'm not trying to mess up what is going on or piss her off or piss the girls off or do anything like that. So he's like, let me lay back. Xavier, step it back a few notches because it might not be in your best interest to do that. So he's pissed, and he wants to basically say, I can mess this up at any point in time. Let's do it. So we get to the veto competition, and we choose who's going to be in the veto. Tiffany chooses Hannah. Xavier chooses Derek F. And Alyssa chooses Asa. So it's a pretty good, chance of something happening that could really flip the game. So everybody has been chosen for the veto, and then they get a surprise. It's Zingbot. Zingbot, we've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see Zingbot because usually he comes and he lets it be known, like he'll crack on people and he embarrasses everybody, and I love to see it. It cracks me up all the time. But I felt like Zingbot's cracks this year were kind of whack. Like, they weren't that good to me. I think his zings are getting worse and worse as the years go on, and it may be time to retire Zingbot for just a few seasons and then maybe bring him back around, because I feel like his cracks are getting dumb. Like he said, let me read. He said Hannah is irrelevant in the game. Like, I don't see Hannah as irrelevant in the game. I don't know where he got that one from. I've not seen that. He called Alyssa dumb. That was silly. Like, okay, like she's not dumb. Like Alyssa, okay, that was dumb. Claire Bigfoot, like I really didn't get that vibe. I guess they showed a clip where, her feet are big. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that was an inside thing and I had to watch some more of like the behind the scenes stuff, like After Dark or whatever, to see, that she had big feet. And then Tiffany, the old joke, like that was dumb because 40 is not old to me. Look, I'm 38, but 40 ain't that old, But anyway, it was Zingbot. We move on to the veto challenge, and they had to stack these mini cocktails. They've done this challenge before, and it's hard as heck. People's hands are shaking, and they're trying to place each one in like a pyramid form. And a lot of them had trouble doing it. It looked like for a minute Tiffany was gonna win, and it looked like for a minute that Chada might get it. Xavier was really messing up a lot, and Derek F got very close and then knocked it down. But in the end, Alyssa actually won. Can you believe that? So Alyssa got to pull herself off of the freaking block. I'm telling you, Alyssa pulls it out when it means the most, and I really was very surprised to see that she won. I was happy because I thought this was going to shake up the game, and it leaves Tiffany in a very, very tough position because you don't want to put up two Cookout members. That defeats the whole purpose of what you came up with. Now, I must say, Tiffany gets all the credit for coming up with the Cookout, all my papers are like flying all over the place. I'm going to pick it up for a minute. Tiffany is responsible for all of the times of, coming up with this Cookout plan. There's a whole elaborate plan in the very beginning of the episodes where she breaks it down on the chessboard, and it's so elaborate and so well put together that she gets the main credit for formulating and putting together the Cookout, and why it's lasted this long. It is all, to me, Tiffany's doing, and I love to see it all the time. So we finally move on to now. After they are there and Alyssa has won, there has to be a conversation. And Tiffany has to sit down and she actually has to explain to Claire, one of her best friends in the house besides Chada, that she has to put her up on the freaking block. Now, I have to say, Chada had been in the works talking to Big D and talking to X about Tiffany's plan, and X was saying that basically we can't let them know about the Cookout. Like, there was all these plans formulated, Tiffany's idea that she was going to mention that there were people she was working with, but X was like, that's not in the plan. So finally, Tiffany just has to go it alone and tell Claire, basically, I have to vote you out because it would be against everything that I stand for if I vote out one of these other people that's here. And Claire, I'm getting emotional thinking about how emotional that scene was to me. We had already seen, these things with, Claire getting the idea that there was like this alliance of, the Cookout and all of that in the house. But for her to have to go and tell her that, the way Tiffany did that, by letting her know that in that type of way, I've never seen anything like that in the longest. But it was so heartwarming to see Claire actually get up in the confessional and say, I get it. I get why she's doing that. I can't hold that against Tiffany for doing that. I can't. It would be unfair. I want to play a clip for you real quick of why the Cookout is the Cookout now. This was from season 15 of Big Brother, and I just happened to come across it on Twitter. And I just want to show you this scene from just one of the many times when there has been some racial undertones on a Big Brother show. I hate to like rehash it, but I just want to show you why this cookout is so important to so many people who are Big Brother fans, who have faithfully watched the show, even when there weren't but like 2 or 3 minorities in the cast that have watched it for years and years and years and years on years and not seen anything like this. So watch this clip real quick.
I got one more time to flip my bed and it's gonna be all hell in this house.
What you gonna do, girl?
See the black
what you
girl
gonna
come out of you.
Do something. Do it right now.
I'm not making a fool of myself. Please.
Well, then
believe
don't
that.
talk. And first of all, I wouldn't get in your bed anyway with all them crabs.
I'm happy you flipped it.
Are you?
Flip it again.
What else?
Hello.
What's up, Howard? Flip this bed again and see what's gonna. I came in here and they flipped the mattress and threw all the pillows on the floor. So do it again, Erin.
What you gonna do, girl? What you gonna do, class girl? Where's your class?
Howie.
Okay, Howie's not going to back you up at all.
Howard's a man. He's not going to fight with girls.
I never asked him to fight with girls.
So you don't need him to protect you.
You didn't need
She's
Nick to
talking
be in
a
the house
story.
with you, so
Candace.
Stop. That's why he's not here.
What do you want to say?
Candace,
What do you
no
want
one
to
in this
say?
house
I'm not
even
gonna
wants
fight
you
with
here.
you.
What you
I'm
gonna
not
say?
gonna fight.
What
I'm
you
not
gonna
gonna
say?
fight.
Get in
I'm
my
not gonna
face.
say
What you gonna
anything
say?
to you.
What you
I'm
gonna
not gonna
say?
say
What you
anything
gonna
to
say?
them. I'm gonna
You want
say
the
Nick's
black to
not-
come out? What you
I'm
gonna
not
say?
gonna say
What
Nick's
you gonna
That right there is why I, from the very first episode, said I'm rooting for everybody black that's on the show. I said it from the beginning, and I will say it again because I am loving this season of Big Brother because they really did a wonderful job of mixing it up together. Who knows if this will ever happen again on Big Brother, but I think it's really great to see and just to show you the power of unity when there is a fair advantage from all aspects of everything. And I hate that it's like that here, but in this world, but this is what it is. And to balance things out, it just kind of shows you what can happen. And it's not just out of spite or nothing like that, but it's just to show you that there is a way for it to work out and there be a fair advantage in a game. And I just love to see it. You have to work extra hard, but I love to see it. Anyway, so we come down to the point of there's no other option. She cannot tell about the cookout. So she goes, talks to Claire. The whole breakdown is so emotional. And I feel like Tiffany could have saved herself the heartache of everything that she went through if she had just fell off of that merry-go-round. You could have let somebody else get that, let Kylan or somebody get that, and you wouldn't have had to go through all that. But I'm glad we got to see what happened. Everything is supposed to happen for a reason. I think it was just, it was just in the bag that Claire was going to have to go up there. Like she said, Tiffany was like, you can't get everything you want. You can't always get everything you want. And it just goes to say you can't mess with fate. And fate, it was meant for Claire to be up on that block. So we come to Thursday night, and this was a big night because it was a double eviction. Double evictions only happen once a year on Big Brother. But this year, it's happening 2 weeks in a row. The house kids don't even know there's going to be a whole nother double eviction the next week in week 10. I'm so here for it. Thank you, Big Brother. It's going to be so exciting. I'm so excited. It's moving so fast now. We're going to be done by the end of September. It's almost over, you guys. We're almost at the end of Big Brother. Yeah. So anyway, we get to the part and now we're down to the double eviction, and they're showing us just a few clips because we got to get right to the vote right away because it's a lot of material to cover with the double eviction in 1 hour. So Asa, Derek, F, and X are talking about wanting Tiffany and Kylan to go first when it all comes down to it. I hope that doesn't happen. It looks like Asa's not really leaning towards that, but of course Derek F is all for it, and Xavier definitely is more trying to get Tiffany out of there because that is his competition at this point. I would love to see Derek, I'm sorry, I keep saying Derek because Derek X, but I would love to see X and Tiffany at the very end of the game. They deserve it the most out of anybody that is left right now, period. They've been working the hardest. X has been keeping it together, throwing competitions, but being smart at the same time. Wonderful social game X is playing, and Tiffany has played such a great strategic game. They both deserve to be sitting there, and I hope that they are the final two, but I don't see that really happening unless it happens by chance. Who knows what could happen, but I do hope to see it. So Alyssa, finally, this is the part that tripped me out. Alyssa comes up, and she comes up with this idea that we're all minorities here in Big Brother. She was like, I can't believe this is a whole minority crew. I said, great way to flip it, Alyssa. Great way to flip this around and try to stay in here. You know, the Cookout was a Cookout already. Yes, it is a minority group, but the Cookout was established from day one. You were busy fooling around with Christian. You could have been included with this Cookout. Maybe it could have been 7, but you was fooling around with Christian, and Christian was long gone. Long gone. So now you got to stick around here, and it was a good try to bring up the minority group, and everybody's like, you think you came up with something new? No, this has been happening all along, sister. So don't think you came up with nothing new. Anyway, I was cracking up. Like, Alyssa's running around and thinks that she came up with this genius idea, and I'm just like, all right. Right before the vote, we are already like, Chada is already thinking in advance. And I love how Chada is starting to really start to work on thinking about this advanced game right now. She talks to Asa and Alyssa about possibly putting up Kai, you know, if possibly Alyssa ends up, you know, winning in the next part. So she's like clicking like clockwork, because now that they know that there's going to be a double eviction, she's like, okay, there's a possibility that Alyssa might win, so I need to keep my name out of there, and we need to start throwing Kai out there, so just in case. She's trying to save herself, so I love that she did that. And we finally get to the votes, and Chada ends up voting. She gives one vote against X, just to peg it onto Kylan in case of Alyssa winning for the next. I mean, Chada was already like, I gotta save myself just in case. We gotta make sure we're okay. And I love that she was thinking ahead of the game. So it ends up, Claire goes home, and we knew Claire was going home because we're trying to keep the Cookout together. But now we have one more person to worry about, and that is Alyssa. So this second, we get a whole week of Big Brother in one freaking hour. So it's comic book week on this double eviction week, and you have to make sure you're matching what you see in the comics and you're answering these questions. And it ends up, I was in another tearful moment for me. I was in tears watching Hannah win this competition. I was just so happy. I wanted her to get something under her belt, and she freaking did it. She became the HOH, and like that, she snapped into that strategy mode really quickly. And that's why I say, along with X, Hannah also deserves to be sitting up there. Those should be the top 3 that get to stick around, in my opinion. Of course, it may go another way because people feel like it's easier to go against the easier people and guarantee your win. But strategically for the game, Hannah or Chada, Tiffany, and X definitely deserve to be up there. They're playing excellent games. So Hannah is already excited about winning, and she now has to convince Alyssa. She brings everybody in individually real quick, convinces. You have to think fast. When you're a HOH on double eviction week, I gotta say, you gotta think very fast. She has to convince Alyssa that X is her target, has to let her know that, and that's basically what she has to do. And Alyssa kind of believes her, but in the end of it, they have to go through the competition of the veto challenge, and the veto comes up, and X ends up winning the power of veto in that, and he builds his, oh my God, he builds that lettering or for the comic book so quickly that I see now, X, you know how to turn it on. You really have been throwing them competitions. You're one to watch for. If these people are smart, even Derek F., you might want to start trying to get X out of there now, because he's going to be coming for all of y'all, period. And he can win the game. But I would love to see Tiffany win, in all reality. There's something that I love about Tiffany. Real quickly, I just want to pull up something I found on Instagram. There's a couple things I saw on Twitter. I'm going to read the first one for you, and then I'll read the last one when we get ready to go. This is talking about Tiffany, because to me, like I said, I really would love to see Tiffany win. And they say on this, the little things from Twitter says, Queen Tiffany Mitchell has redefined Big Brother strategic play for years to come. Every 5 to 6 years, we see a new trend emerge based on an epic season. This is one of those years, thank goodness. She'll either become a legendary winner or a legendary player to never win. Hashtag BB23. So Tiffany is definitely my fave to win. I've been saying that for quite a while now. I really did want Hannah. I want Hannah and Tiffany to be the last ones to survive on Big Brother, but I really want to see Tiffany win it all. Like, seriously, like, I feel like she's played it. I've never really said this about a Big Brother player strategically. Davon, a lot of times, was similar to this on a strategic level, but Tiffany has like pushed past that. It's like we get those good players every once in a while, and she kind of gives me a little bit of Mama Day ×2, and I love that. I'm gonna always love Miss Tiffany, or Queen Tiffany. So anyway, we get to this part. Xavier builds his thing so quickly. He takes himself off of the block, and now we have to watch Alyssa run around the house and act like, you know, she got to be like, I gotta work hard to make sure I get these votes, so we can definitely, whoever's gonna be up here, we got to get them out, you know, get them out first. And I'm like, Alyssa, at this point, I believe that was a pointless run, but you don't know that, so you're running around thinking that you're really doing something. And I kind of laugh. Now, I'm not trying to be funny. I really did laugh, because it's funny to see her really work so hard, something that's already set up, you know, and I love Alyssa for that. But hey, this was a plan from week freaking 1, and I love it. So finally, Kylan gets picked to go back on the block to take Xavier's place, to come off of the freaking block. And yeah, I meant to mention that earlier. I'm sorry I missed it. But Hannah ended up putting up Alyssa and Xavier. She put up Alyssa and Xavier pulled himself off of the block, and Kylan went into place. And Kylan, his emotions show so readily, and I feel like he needed to take one for the team still. Again, regardless, you know you're going to get picked to do that. What are you worried about right now? That you're going on as a pawn? Is it your ego that's talking? I really didn't like his attitude when it came to that. Like, he gave this real fake, you know, extra fake speech, like how he was excited or happy of it with all the people around it. You could tell in his eyes he was not happy. I know nobody's happy to be on the block, but at this point, you know you're not going home. So you know Alyssa's going home. Nobody's trying to pull nothing on you. That just shows me that you don't trust the Cookout altogether. But we're at the end of the game, so now it's all gloves off, because you have shown your true colors. I'm sure they're going to be coming for Kylan next week. That's all I have to say, because Alyssa said bye-bye. Yeah, Alyssa was gone, and I think she was more shocked that she was gone. Now, I don't know if she was shocked or not, but she had to go. And there was one vote. There was a rogue vote. One person voted for Kylan. I forgot who voted for Kylan. I'm sorry, I missed who voted for Kylan. Somebody did, but it's out there in the atmosphere. Somebody voted for him. And X takes it really hard because Alyssa's gone now. So Alyssa said bye, and X is crying, and Kylan was excited right from the beginning. Somebody was like, too soon, Kylan. You're too excited. Way too soon. So they kind of, you know, he calms down, and then finally X gets over it, because they're now the Cookout. So we have the Cookout, who has been around since week 1. They are now all in the house, and they do have another double eviction next week. Can you believe that? Another double eviction next week. I cannot wait to see what happens on this double eviction. I know I had a lot to cover today. I went like a little bit over the normal time that I do. But a double eviction, you got to talk about everything. We're getting in all of this Big Brother goodness and juiciness all, you know, in 1 hour. So I had to blab my mouth off. But now we are down to our final 6, which is the Cookout. I'm so proud of you guys. I don't know if the Cookout will ever see this video, but I know for one thing, you guys have made history. You will never be forgotten. We got to pay homage to the Cookout. Pay homage to these folks. These faces that you see here, that is legendary. This is legendary Big Brother right here. So we gotta bow our heads to the Cookout. Congratulations, y'all. I'm so happy that y'all made it. Another double eviction is next week. Right before I go, I want to just mention one more thing that I read off of Twitter. And it says, the Cookout, is this from Andy Heron, by the way. Andy Heron from Twitter says, the Cookout is the best alliance in Big Brother history, and I'm glad it is now official. I know I sound like a broken record, but you all don't respect them enough. It has been fascinating watching them outplay everyone. GTFO, you know what that means. With this, the season is boring nonsense. Because y'all been blabbing that off. Hashtag BB23. Y'all been blabbing this is the most boring season. Who said this was the most boring season? This is the most exciting season of Big Brother ever. I don't care what nobody say. This is history here. Y'all better get with it. Get me mad. Okay, I had to cut that because I was getting a little too hype for the big brother. Anyway, I need y'all to make sure y'all subscribe because it's going to keep getting better and better. These last few episodes are going to be wonderful. I'm going to be talking about it each and every week. I'm so excited to see history being made, and I'm glad I chose this season to start doing this review because it's been exciting every single week coming here talking to you. So make sure you get people to hop over to this channel, subscribe to this channel, follow this channel, like this channel, comment on this channel, do what you got to do. Come on over here, talk to Big D. This is Big D right here. I'm Big D, for real. This is Dave, Deluxe Dave. I've always been DD. Anyway, all I gotta say is make sure y'all come back here next Monday and see me so we can talk about some more Big Brother. Week 10 is going down right here on my channel, right here. I will see you all here next week. Bye, Joey.